Howdy, folks. It's Tuesday night. It's 9:30. Time to go behind the hedges. I'm Mitch. This is Matt, and we're here to give you a little bit of a post-mortem on the SEC championship game between our Georgia Bulldogs and the Crimson Tide from Alabama. But before we do that,
Man, you talking about behind the hedges. Georgia got taken out behind the woodshed.
if I'd have thought about that, we could have.
I got news for y'all. And I tried to tell you, all you Disney dogs had your G-shaped glasses on, talking about this and that. Old Ducati was over there as the curmudgeon, trying to tell y'all that Stetson Bennett IV is a liability. And what happened? What happened?
Well, I'll tell you. Today at work, I was headed back into the library, and this guy on the sidewalk, I know he's a big Penn State fan, and he comes by and he's like, "Hey man, hey, I just wanted to tell you, sorry about the championship game the other day." And I was like, "Hey, those kinds of things happen." He said, he goes, "Man, I don't know." He said, "I don't know. I don't follow Georgia football that closely, but I know you do." He said, I'm worried about the Arkansas Razorbacks because that's who Penn State's playing in their bowl game." He said, "But I got to tell you something, dude." He said, "That quarterback y'all got is a liability." I was like, this man don't even follow Georgia football.
What did I just say? No. I didn't just say it. Mitch, how long have I been saying it?
It ain't even that. It is the fact that man switched on the TV one day and looked at it with his eyes and said, that man is a liability. Jesus. I mean, I can see it. You can see it. Dogs can see it.
I've been saying it since last year.
It is something else. So,
all right. So a complete philosophical shift on defense coupled with the play of I'm not going to say inept because Stetson makes plays, but that's the thing. He's not. After 20 yards, his passes don't really know where they're going. Sometimes they go to our dudes. Sometimes they go to other people's dudes.
Man, I wish I had the film. In fact, I could find the film of it for you real fast.
I don't bring that. I ain't trying to watch that Hobbit.
But I saw a thing the other day that said that Stetson had only completed 2 passes all season that traveled 40 or more yards in the air. All season. Dude, Bryce Young hit us with 3 the other night in one game. 3 in one game. I ain't sitting here trying to say you got to throw the ball, 40 yards down the field on every play. But the man has only done it twice all year. So what's the story? The story is he can't. Once you get past 15, 20 yards, Stetson's accuracy becomes problematic. He just doesn't have the arm talent that, Bryce Young does or Joe Burrow does or any of these other, championship winning quarterbacks does, Mac Jones. His arm talent is just not there. Does he have some leg talent? Sure. Yeah. Does it make up for his lack of arm talent? I don't think so. I got to tell you, dude, the general, if I'm a defensive coordinator and my task is to stop Georgia, I'm going to just focus on shutting down the run, because Stetson is a runner. And if that's where he's most effective or most dangerous or whatever, look, I'm going to focus on shutting that down. I'm going to focus on shutting those backs down. And then that's how I'm going to try to make Georgia one-dimensional. And that's what Alabama wants to do. They want to make you one-dimensional. They want to take away something and make you beat them with that other thing, right? And that other thing is Stetson's ability to throw the ball. Now, he did throw for 340 yards. That's a lot of yards.
Crack.
He did throw, how many attempts was it? Like 48 attempts or something like that?
Crack.
But more importantly, he turned the ball over. And he turned the ball over in the red zone. And he threw a pick 6, right? Yeah. And so Alabama beat us by 17 points. Alabama needed to do some things coming into this game. There was like a little checklist of things that they needed to do. All right. On that checklist was, win the turnover battle. Check. All right. And the thing is like we kind of helped them with that. It wasn't like, yeah, the guy made a play on it or whatever, but we kind of helped him on that. Alabama, what they needed to make us one dimensional. Um, yeah, they did that. We weren't able to run the ball, and that's what Georgia wants to do. That we want to run the ball. We ran the ball on our first couple of possessions when we went up 10-0, but after that, that was it. You know, Alabama adjusted, and then it was all the Stetson Bennett show from that point on. And dude, you look at that second quarter, those first three drives after the half, whole lot of punting, whole lot of turning the ball over, whole lot of not much. And I don't mean to jump around all scattershot like this, but kind of have to. In the middle of that flurry of us being inept offensively in the second quarter, we also decided to become inept defensively. Go back and watch the film. The first quarter, we looked okay. Second half, defensively, we looked okay. Second quarter, no, man. What are we doing? What is the thing that we have done all year? And that's put pressure on a quarterback. And all of a sudden, our linebackers are dropping. We're rushing four. We're dropping linebackers in the coverage. Guys are getting, we're getting busted coverage in the secondary, and all of a sudden, Alabama is able to do the thing that they want to do very easily. And it's not a recipe for success. So
Georgia got Georgia's. What do I mean by that? Well, anytime you give up 24 points in one quarter, it's going to get hard. Ask Florida. That's exactly what we did to them in the second quarter of the Florida game. A flurry, a 24-point flurry. That's like that Tyson combo that just shakes you out your shoes. I don't think it's possible to come back from that when you have a team like an Alabama on the other side or like a Georgia on the other side. Georgia got Georgia. There was a flurry, and then they held on like a boa constrictor and squeezed the life out. So, defense out of sync. The game plan was weird, but I think this game was lost 6, 7, 8 weeks ago when Kirby decided to put our preseason Heisman hopeful 5-star quarterback on the bench and ride with this midget. And I'm going with that.
Okay.
I don't think JT. I don't know. I don't know if JT can beat Alabama, and it's too late to find out. That's the hard reality. But I do know that Stetson can't. So our bet is made, and this is what it's going to be.
Yeah.
At this point, we probably need to be the biggest Cincinnati fans in the world because I foresee a similar result if we meet these fellas again because we don't have a quarterback that Saban's going to respect and game plan around. He's just going to take this one thing away that they like to do, and then let's make this guy try to beat us because we know he can't.
I mean, that's basically it, right? So I feel like the answer is what you just said, though. I don't know what it's going to take to beat Alabama. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's JT, right? I don't know if we can do it.
Too late.
But I know that Stetson cannot do it, right? And so that's enough for me. So if we're going to play Michigan on the 31st, if they trot Stetson out there on the field, is it over at that point? Even if we beat Michigan, is it over at that point? Are we just
this falls at the feet of Kirby Smart? He made that decision. He decided to ride with his feel-good story over a weapon that is undefeated as a Georgia Bulldog, that being one JT Daniels. 7-0. Has it always looked dominant? Nope. But when we needed a quarterback to lean on and win us a game and make some plays, he did. Stetson can't do that. Won't do that. Is incapable of doing that, and Kirby decided to do this instead. So I'll answer that question kind of. Kirby's got 2 games to make it up to me. If he loses to Michigan, Kirby's on my hot seat. If he beats Michigan, great. You got 1 more to go. If you lose that one, you're on my hot seat. What does that mean? What does that hot mean, Ducati? The hot seat means in 2022 you better bring one home, or I'm going to want to go in a different direction. And that's just me. But what about the recruiting? Well, that's exciting. We could do a show about that tonight too if we wanted to. I do like the recruiting. It's a good. It's exciting. It feels good to just snatch all these dudes for Georgia. But what good are these stars if they just gonna ride the pine in place of Stetson Bennett a walk on, Dan Jackson a walk on? I mean, we haven't even gotten to that side of the ball. You had Dan Jackson starting at the star position, and you had William Poole, who's a fifth-year senior who ain't seen a game since he got on campus, starting at safety. Or maybe it was flip-flop. I think Poole started at the star position. That's right. And Dan Action Jackson, who's about 175 pounds, was starting at safety. And that's who you put out there to cover Mechie and um, Jamison Williams, and that was your secondary.
Where where's Latavius Brini?
He didn't play. He didn't play a snap. He didn't play one snap.
Guy's number 6 on our team in tackles right now. He's been playing the
Where was the
star.
pressure? Why did the linebackers back up? I mean, they didn't run the ball either. They had 115 yards. We had 109. That's a wash. They weren't running on us either. It was not an effective. That was not a punishing, effective Alabama run game. So those two things cancel out. But our philosophy shift into that zone, our curious decisions on these personnel choices, played a big role in getting our asses handed to us. Georgia got Georgia'd. I said if Georgia brings the brand of football they brought regular season, probably gonna win this game. Did you see the brand of Georgia football you'd grown accustomed to?
Not consistently.
I think
No, I did not.
anybody did, you know. So Kirby's got that falls at the feet of the CEO. He's got 2 games to make it up to me, and if he makes it up to me, great.
Well, I mean that's it in a nutshell, dude.
That was
It
a
was
gut wrencher, right? I mean,
it was embarrassing,
well,
and
I was in a funk for a week.
yeah, there's part of me like I think of it during the day, and I think it puts me back in a funk, you know.
I
Um,
did say who's more dangerous, the warrior who just came from hell, wounds deep and neat, sharpening his spear, Alabama, or the warrior who sat by the campfire all plump and fat and well fed, polishing his spear,
so
Georgia.
I want to ask you something about that. I want to sort of divert away from the topic at hand. I want to ask you something. Was Georgia's schedule weak this year?
It was weaker than we thought, yes. That schedule we thought was going to be tougher. We thought we'd get tested. We thought we'd have chances to work out kinks, and we just didn't. So you could probably make the argument Georgia's a little overrated this year. But if you're going to say that, and those people know who they are, some of you are going to have to look in the mirror and say that this year your teams were trash.
I mean, coming into the season, if I just show you on paper, look, man, we're opening with Clemson. We got a couple of cupcakes on the schedule, but then we're playing an SEC slate.
You can say it now, but
You
again,
know,
you go back and watch every episode of this show. Every week was the new fairy tale of how whoever we were playing was going to show us what the deal was.
mm-hmm.
Okay, this is where it gets wonky. Tennessee put the fear of God in Alabama until the fourth quarter. Florida put the fear of God in Alabama. Um, Auburn put the fear of God in Alabama.
Arkansas did too.
Georgia crushed all 4 of those teams just to turn around and get crushed by Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no rhyme or reason. Georgia, it didn't matter what Alabama did. It mattered what Georgia did, and Georgia did what they did and got what they got.
Okay, so let's fast forward to a rematch, to a potential rematch in a national championship game. What philosophically does Georgia need to do to take Alabama down?
What they did all season. I figured Auburn had given you the blueprint for how to harass Bryce Young.
Mm-hmm.
Did they not? They sacked his ass 7 times, and you're not going to sit here and tell me that Auburn's dudes are more vicious than Georgia's dude, because we played Auburn and we Georgia to them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think we've got to get back philosophically to who we are and quit. I mean, you tell me, why did we back up in zone? Why were the linebackers not attacking? Tell me why that was.
I wish I knew an answer, dude. I have thought about it and thought about it and thought about it, and I just can't.
That's not what got us to 12-0. So we need to go back to what got us to 12-0. And if they still beat us, okay. That might be easier to stomach. If we had like 7 or 8 sacks on Bryce Young and he just makes like Herculean plays and they still win,
Mhm.
I can stomach that a little bit better. But to hang back and just let them carve us up like a Thanksgiving turkey, that was hard to stomach.
Yes, it was. It was. It's hard for me because I'm the one who's like watching things happen on the field and thinking, okay, the reason we are doing this is because X, or the reason we're doing this is because Y. You know what I mean? And I'm looking at us do things, and I'm thinking, I got nothing. I have no idea why we're doing this. I don't understand. It doesn't make sense to be dropping N'Kobe and Nolan back into coverage, or Channing Tindall, you know, on a slot guy. You know what I mean? I'm like, where's, and when the pressure did come,
Couldn't
it
play.
came to the middle, and the offensive line was able to pick it up. Now, okay, you know, I'm going to be fair. That was the best game Alabama's offensive line played all year long, all year long. So kudos to them. They needed to do that, right? They needed to fix that. They needed to keep. So then that was one of the other things they needed to check off their list, was they needed to give their quarterback time to operate, and they did that. But we helped them do that. You know what I'm saying? We helped them. So this checklist that they needed to fill out, we helped them check off several items on their list. And so I'm thinking philosophically moving forward, that imaginary game that will be played on January the 10th, maybe it's not so imaginary. We'll see. But one of the things that we have to do is not help them. Like, I know that sounds like basic and simple, but like, it's the truth, dude. They're Alabama. They're already good enough. They don't need any help.
You can't be
We
throwing pick sixes, man.
That's absolutely true.
You can't be doing it.
The team that turns the ball over in that game is screwed. You know, Alabama is not the Alabama of past years. They do have some weaknesses, but they also have some glaring strengths. You know, dude. Here, let's face some facts. That quarterback is good. He is deserving of the Heisman Trophy. That receiver, Jameson Williams, he's fast. All right,
Yeah,
he's the
man.
fastest thing on the field. Um, that linebacker they got, Will Anderson, that's a dude. All right. Um, Now, if they play us again, all right, you know, moving forward, Alabama is going to be without a couple of guys. You know, Mechie is down. Mechie's done for the season. And who was that? Who was the other one you telling me had surgery?
Josh Jobe, but their
Josh
starting
Jobe.
cornerback is
Mm,
out. But man, let's. I like that. There's a time and a place. We y'all need to be looking at Michigan
mm,
because Michigan is. I mean, it's Michigan. Their style's different. Michigan is riding momentum, man. They're playing as good as anybody in the country. They finally slew their dragon, and then
mm,
they went into their championship game and obliterated somebody. They
mm.
are going to come in. That's a program with a lot of history, a lot of pride. They got some dudes. They're not going to come in there thinking like underdogs. They're coming in there to win. So before we talk about a potential rematch with Bama, I think we need to examine Michigan. Maybe not tonight, but that needs to be like, let's take this one game at a time.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And you're right. We do need to talk about Michigan.
We go in there and
Um,
play or look or feel like we did in Atlanta. Michigan can beat us.
so that's a great question. Where is our brain right now?
I'm I'm confident the defense will look better. I think the staff was trying to get cute. That's the only thing I can think of. We're gonna get cute. We're gonna show Saban something he's never seen.
Mm.
Stop. You need to come in there and be who you are, and if they beat you, they beat you. Okay.
Well, isn't that exactly what Herschel Walker said in the Days Lingham? He did say that. He said all Georgia needs to do is be Georgia.
I
They
say
just need to be Georgia.
just bring what we brought all year long, and by God, if live by the sword, die by the sword. We ain't died yet. You go in there and we put the claymore down and picked up a fencing rapier,
Pool noodle.
and we get sumoed out of the ring. Like it was disheartening. I will say, I hate that Mechie went down. Injuries suck whenever they happen to anybody. We know that as good as anybody this year.
Sure.
After he went down, though, they netted 17 points.
Hmm.
So in the third and fourth quarter, um, less effective. Our third quarter was atrocious, 0 points. I was telling you as you were sitting in my living room. I think I said it twice. I was like, these 2 drives are crucial that we do something, that we get something. If we
Yeah.
don't score here, the fourth quarter is too late, Mitch. It's too late. Punt. We get the ball back. Oh, okay, go all right, defense. Okay, Mitch, it is mission. I think I said mission critical that we
Yes.
at least get some points on the board before the third quarter is over. Punt. Too late.
Yeah. There was a string of I don't remember how many. I think it was seven consecutive possessions where we scored 7 points, but we also threw a pick six that so it was a wash. So 7 possessions where Georgia did nothing to affect itself moving forward, and basically Alabama just held us by the throat with one hand and slapped us silly with the other one, and we could do nothing. We could do nothing with it. There's something I want to say. It bears repeating over and over and over. Alabama got the last possession before half. Well, technically Georgia did, but we wound up taking a knee and going half, right? Because there's just like 20 some odd seconds on the clock or whatever, and I still don't know why we didn't at least just throw the ball into the end zone, but whatever. Alabama got last score before half, and they were up by 7 at half, and then come out in the third quarter, and they got the first score of the second half, and then they're up by 14 points. And at that point, once Alabama gets up on you by 2 scores, they can afford to be very aggressive defensively, just like we would do if it were us.
Georgia got Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we were doing all season long. We said it on the show. All we need is get up 14, and then that's your ass.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And when we went up 10 on them, I thought, man, this. I even said this to you. I said, is 10 points an insurmountable lead? Nope. I should not have said that.
No,
because they can hit you fast. You know what it was, Matt? It looked like the Tennessee Georgia game, only we were Tennessee. You remember how Tennessee kind of jumped out on us, and then we just put them in a chokehold and just slowly squeezed the life out of them, and then they kicked a couple times right at the end before the game was over. And that's basically what happened to us against Alabama. There was that middle part where they just slowly put us to sleep. Go to sleep. Yeah. So I don't know what else there is to say about it.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I think my microphone just committed suicide.
We can't hear you no more.
Testing. How about that? Can you hear me now?
That's better.
Wow.
About that game, there's not much more. We got a black eye. It's gonna be interesting to see how we come out and answer against Michigan, who's they're playing as well as anybody in the country, and they believe. It's been a long time for Michigan too, man. Mm-hmm. So we will see. I'm not feeling as good now after Atlanta as I was before Atlanta. I think there's some deep issues on this team that everybody got to see, starting with the quarterback and then going on into the secondary. We're beat up, we're thin, and we're young, and we had the dude. Chris Smith did play, but Latavius Brini didn't.
Yeah. The ball's gonna. It's like the old baseball adage: the ball's gonna find you. It'll find you. They went after Keely Ringo. They went after Dan Jackson. I mean, it's clear. You go watch the catches these guys are making, and then who's the guy? Who's the man on the spot? And it's.
And you were saying Stetson he did make some plays. He threw for 300 yards. But watch how our offense makes a play versus how Alabama makes a play. Bryce Young puts the football in Jamison Williams' numbers in stride, so Jamison Williams don't have to work for nothing. He can just do what he do and go straight to the end zone.
Yep.
Our guys have to make circus catches, and while that looks cool, they're down.
Yeah.
So you gained 15. If you had hit him in stride, you probably could have took it to the house.
Perfect example of what you're saying. Brock Bowers had a phenomenal game. All right, just that guy is a cheat code. All right, so for all the bad that Georgia did, we did some good things, and Brock Bowers was one of them. But go back and look. I think it's on the touchdown drive, the first touchdown that we scored when we went up 10. Can't remember. Did we score the touchdown first? Kick the field goal first. I think we field goal then touchdown.
First score was a field goal.
So it was like punt, then field goal, then touchdown. So on the touchdown drive, there's a play where Stetson throws a ball out to his left, and Brock jumps up. It's a 20-yard, 22-ish yard pass. All right. The ball was so poorly thrown that it was a good 3 or 4 feet over Brock's head. And he has to go up and make this ridiculous, amazing catch. Amazing. But there wasn't anybody within 5 yards of him. Right? So if Stetson is able to hit him in the sternum with that ball, he scores right there.
Can't do it.
And he can't. So once his target is more than 10, 15, 20 yards, the accuracy starts to diminish greatly. Notice how many balls he throws at or behind the line of scrimmage, and then just hopes and prays that his receiver is able to do something with it. And sometimes they are. McConkey had an amazing touchdown run. That touchdown that we scored, I think it was second quarter. He ran across, against the grain through the defense, and But the thing is like it was a glorified handoff. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't. It required very little. It's going to go down as a 30, 40-yard completion for Stetson. But the thing is, he threw the ball this far. He threw it this far, and then McConkey did the rest.
Can I ask one more question?
Sure.
Why was Darion Kendrick not on Jamison Williams?
I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, because like if it's me, we played a lot of zone. We played a lot of zone during the game, and Alabama just carves zone up, and I don't understand why would we just not go man up? It's like this is our best guy, this is your best guy, and we're just going to see what these two guys do to one another, right? Maybe we play a little zone mix with the rest of them, whatever. But I think you got to have a man on that. That's their weapon. That's their Death Star, and you got to shut it down. You can't just leave it to run free. You got to put it in a cage. And I don't get it. I do not get it. And Keely Ringo is a good athlete, but he is the youngest and the weakest of the corners, right? So he'll get there. He got a heck of a lot of experience, trial by fire, and all that. He's got plenty of scars to show for it, but that he's not the answer, dude. I'm sorry. He wasn't the answer to that problem.
Not that guy.
Yeah.
I got nothing else in the SEC championship game. You could say it's just business as usual when it comes to Georgia, Alabama in the last decade.
Yep.
It seems like they just got our number. I don't know what else to tell you for whether it's our fault or their fault or however it shakes out. Not a lot of success against the Crimson Tide for the Bulldogs, and a lot of dog people were riding into this one with some unfound confidence. I was trying to be a little bit of a rain cloud, not so much to ruin the party, but being like, y'all need to calm down a little bit.
Yeah. Well, let that be a lesson to you, as if you haven't learned it already. Let that be a lesson to you. We ain't gonna
get off the show without talking about a little recruiting.
We will, but before that, moving forward, we're going to do a Michigan show. We got to talk about Michigan at some point, maybe next Tuesday. I will tell you this though, I'll be going on vacation pretty soon, so we're going to have to get our schedule worked out to make sure that we can squeeze it in. I will be back in time for the game though. So we need to make some plans about how we are going to digest that game. We need to talk about recruiting. Man, let me tell you, the next 72 hours starting, I'm going to bed tonight with a smile on my face because I'm waking up tomorrow knowing it is going to be lit on that recruiting trail tomorrow. Early signing day starts tomorrow, and it lasts for 72 hours. And, dude, statistically speaking, 80% of the college rosters will be filled up in the next 3 days for this incoming class. And at the end of that 3 days, if your roster ain't looking healthy, chances are that's about where it's going to be. So,
I kind of have to just, while we're here, and I've got it up. I'll have it up. I just had it up here. That must have been a coincidence. We sitting at three. For those of you who follow recruiting, we go. Me and Mitch. There's different sites. We go by the 24. I go by the 24/7 Sports Composite because it takes all the other sites and combines them into one. Georgia's sitting at 312 right now. Alabama 307, A&M 303. Many folks think A&M will surpass Georgia and Alabama when they secure all of their targets. We'll see about that. I'm looking at the SEC specifically right now, though. Dude, number 4 is Kentucky.
Yeah. One couple things worth noting though. Yeah, Kentucky is up there, and they got them a 5-star offensive lineman.
Why don't you scroll down a little bit further?
I will. I'm going to. But right now, I want to point something out here. Look at those top 3 schools: 312, 307, 303. Georgia's average recruit is 92.77, Alabama 94.81, Texas A&M 93.6. Look at Missouri 90.3. Once you start getting into that 90 range, you got a pretty good class. Because so Kentucky and Missouri are doing all right. They're doing all right. I'd like to see their classes go pushed up to somewhere around the 250 mark, maybe 275 ish would be pretty good for them. But there's a few teams on here that need to check themselves. All right.
Why don't you scroll down now? Because now I got to have you do it. Keep going.
Let's go past Missouri for sure.
Yeah,
Let's go past South Carolina. Let's go past Arkansas. Let's get that. There's the bottom half of the bottom half here.
Now I just want to say what the hell is going on?
Well,
what world are we living in where you could look at that right there and that be your reality?
From 8 to 13, there's a 25-point difference between 8 and 13. And then between 13 and 14, there's nearly a 70-point difference. What is that? Yeah, 69-point difference right there. So, man, the distance between 8 and 13 is almost a third less than the distance between 13 and 14. Vanderbilt is sitting up there at a very comfortable 10th place out of 14. What is going on with the Mississippi schools?
I don't know, because Ole Miss.
They just won 10 games.
Ole Miss was competitive. Ole Miss had a decent season. Would we say
they had the best regular season in school history? That's the only time in school history they have won more than 9. They have never won more than 9 games in a regular season.
I don't know. LSU, we could understand. We have spent a lot of time talking about the miasma around LSU.
Sure. Yeah. Auburn is in a world of hurt. Okay. We all know the news. Bo Nix has decided to transfer. There were some rumblings about Tank Bigsby transferring, but it looks like he's been brought back to the barn. Shivers, the other running back, he's leaving. There's a lot of weirdness going on with Auburn, and some of our Auburn faithful are even saying, the sky is falling, and they are not Chicken Little. The sky is falling. Auburn's in trouble. All right. I don't know what to say about Florida.
I'm gonna say it right now. Click on the commits, dude. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They have 6 linemen and a kicker.
All right. So they got a 4-star defensive lineman. All right, fine.
This is like something when we said, "Oh, Florida's going to be in the dump." This is like what you're looking at would be like a fantasy that we would make up about Florida.
Yeah,
and you would say it would look like this, but it really wouldn't. It'd just be me and you talking shit. This is their life now.
I mean, it's
unnerving. Yeah, we're giddy that Florida is suffering, but there needs to remain some semblance of a value in beating Florida. Because if they go like the Florida State route or the Miami route or the Nebraska route, then it's just you have a bitter rival that's still going to sneak in there and get you a couple of times. Then when you beat them, it doesn't mean anything anymore.
Yeah.
Like it don't
Well,
mean nothing right now to beat FSU. It don't mean nothing to beat Nebraska. You beat Miami, okay. So what? I want Florida to be bad enough where we beat them 8 out of 10 years, 9 out of 10 years, sure. But I don't want them to be so bad that people are just like, oh yeah, we don't even watch that game no more. You know what I
well,
mean?
it's like you said earlier when I asked the question, was Georgia's schedule weak, and you said, yeah. Well, I mean, we had Clemson
We know
on our
that now.
schedule.
We know that now.
Yeah, we had Clemson on our schedule. We have Florida on our schedule, and dude, I just haven't seen teams ever fall apart to the extent that both of those teams fell apart. Florida way more so than Clemson. Clemson wound up, I don't know, what did they win, like 9 games? They won
Yeah,
9 games, right?
they salvaged. They didn't go
Um,
anywhere near where they're used to being, but they didn't. They didn't. It wasn't a Florida type situation where they just fell on their face. I mean, hell,
Florida was playing for their.
Tennessee and Auburn like swap places. You remember, this is like what we thought Tennessee would look like,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
they did this. Even though Florida beat them earlier in the season, they swapped by the time we got to the end of the season. I think.
Mhm.
Um, how many games did Auburn win?
5 or 7. They made a bowl game, so it had to be 7, right? I think they went 7-5.
I mean, we don't need. I mean, we don't need the SEC to start actually getting weak. You know what I mean? Like if we're going to keep
Right.
saying we're the best conference, then these teams need to st- retain some semblance of competitiveness. You need to be able to think, oh yeah, any given year, Auburn, Florida, Tennessee might make a run, and when you beat them, it's like, hey, yeah, that's a quality opponent. You don't need shit like this because shit like this, the people are going to be like, oh, you beat Florida, who cares?
Right. Right. We don't want them to turn into Georgia Tech.
No.
And so I've said this before, and I mean it when I say it. I was like, Batman needs a Joker. Okay, if there's no Joker, there's no Batman. All right, and Georgia needs its rivals to be good. Right now, one of its rivals, Georgia Tech, is a terrible, terrible joke. Right, um, and Auburn and Florida, the other rivals, are just both of them are in the toilet right now, and they're circling the drain. And like, there's a part of me that like relishes in it, because those are my enemies. But like, there's a part of me that's like, please stop, please, please don't do this
You're
because you're
making
making
the rest of us look bad.
exactly, exactly.
I don't want the narrative to become, oh, Georgia don't play nobody, and it actually be for real.
Right.
You've already got people saying that now. There are some people who are violently, aggressively angry that Georgia's in the playoffs because they ain't
Yeah.
play nobody. Well, you say that now. Those same people weren't saying that every week of the season, so hindsight's 2020. But we don't need that to become the reality.
hmm hmm If at the end of the season, Georgia wins these last 2 games, and at the end of the season, you can say Georgia beat Alabama, the Big Ten champion, all of its rivals, a few teams that were ranked in the top 10 when we played them, and we beat Clemson. If you could say that at the end of the year, that has to sound like one of the greatest seasons of all time, right? Why doesn't it feel like one of the greatest seasons of all time? Why doesn't it feel like that right now? I think yeah, we need to close the deal. We need to close the deal. We need to win these last 2 games. Really, really need to.
I think it's because of how some of these teams have settled. And you don't know that going in, but looking at that list we just looked at, I mean, Tennessee, Auburn, and Florida, the big three of our regular season,
Mhm.
are in the bottom
Of
half
the
as far as recruiting. Like the
Yeah,
future's not bright.
yeah. It's surprising to me for Tennessee because of the trajectory of their season. They're one of the more upwardly mobile teams, along with Ole Miss and Hell, South Carolina. South Carolina had very upwardly mobile season. They were not expected. I didn't expect them to do much. In fact, I said it. I said the bottom three teams in the East won't combine for 12 wins. Well, guess what? I was wrong. There's 13 SEC teams made it to bowl games. So Vanderbilt being the odd team out.
And that's why the you didn't play nobody this year doesn't really stick, because are they what we thought they would be? No, but they are going to bowls. Okay, we
Mhm.
don't need these teams. We don't need Florida to slip up and lose that extra game, and all of a sudden they're not going to a bowl.
Mhm.
We don't need Tennessee to all of a sudden slip up and lose two more games and not go to a bowl. Like, we need everybody to stay above water. So if y'all could stop sucking completely, that would be great, because you're making the rest of us look bad.
Okay.
Okay? If you could just go ahead and try to do that from now on, that would be great.
I need you to move your desk down to the basement.
And,
Uh,
I need
okay, Matt.
stapler back.
so so where do we go from here? What are we going to do next week? We did a nice little. I don't know if you got to see it. We did a nice little coaching carousel show this past week. I really do think we need to talk about these bowl games coming up. Since there are 13 SEC teams in bowl games, we need to at least take a look at them. Um,
Okay.
in the off season, we're going to talk. Excuse me, in the recruiting season, we're going to talk
I only take off seasons at Florida.
we're gonna talk a lot about recruiting. We're going to talk a lot about previewing the upcoming season. I think that one thing we ought to do too is do a really deep dive into Georgia's position groups, and let's talk about what we can expect to see, particularly with all these, like, who's going to the draft, who's coming back for their COVID year. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot up in the air right now.
Sure.
What's this transfer portal going to do, for God's sakes? You know what I mean? Like, what all these factors that are going to play into it. We won't know what our roster is going to look like probably until way later, but we need to start taking a look, seeing if we do have any holes that we need to fill, and
It ain't
looking at
gonna
that
be in the
portal. And
secondary. Have you looked at the secondary that's coming in?
my God, man, it
It's
is.
kind of it's kind of scary.
Hold on a second. I might need to put
Oh,
that back
and
up
like
there.
the shortest one is 6 foot.
I'm gonna put it back up there for a second. Let's go back. I want to show the folks at home something here. All right. So right now, this is my guy Brett Thorson right here at the top. You see that?
Good
Uh,
day, mate.
good day, Brett.
Yeah,
Brett's our first first
sign.
official signee. He's got
Hey,
his.
look at it. He is the number one at his position, number one in his state. You know where his state is? Let me click on that right quick. Australia, Australia.
That dude is from Australia, Australia.
I'm glad. I was hoping we'd cash in and get either one of these like South American place kickers or one of these Australian punters.
All right, take a look here. These we got 4 5 stars, 4 5 stars currently committed. Right, Malachi Starks is listed as an athlete, but he will most likely play safety, I think. So you got a safety and 2 corners right there in your top 4 recruits. Now hold on
Jalen
to
never
that.
came out of nowhere.
Hold on to that.
I'd never heard that name before today.
Going down just a little bit, and look here, Julian Humphrey. Where he come from? Where he come from?
Julian Humphrey, I believe,
Oh
was a
yeah,
Florida
he
flip.
decommitted from Florida, right?
Not a
Uh,
flip.
Cornerback, 4 star, right above Marquise Groves Killebrew. Cornerback, another 4 star. Come on down a little bit. Come on down a little bit. There's Ja'Cory Thomas, a 4 star safety. Come on down a little bit. We got any more?
Not until tomorrow. Tomorrow we're gonna get
Hmm.
another one.
We might add another 5 star
Kamari Wilson.
corner. Kamari Wilson is trending, and well, we'll hold back some of those surprises for the people. But dude, what is that? Defensive backs. We're taking. There's 5 on the team right now, and if you add uh, Malachi Starks to it, then 6. And
that's 3 4 stars and 3 5 stars.
Mm-hmm. If they all pan out, 2023 is going to be hell to pass on Georgia. I
My
don't think
God.
Kirby wants to find himself in the position we're in this year
Yeah.
ever again by the
Yeah.
way he's recruiting that position unit.
Uh, interesting. Another little bit here. I looked up earlier, and I'll see if I can find it real fast. 24/7 top recruiters. Check this out, dude. This is from 2021. I want to go to 2022. Look who is sitting at the top in 2022. Look at that. Look at that. What you see?
Where did you find that?
24/7 top recruiters. You see that? Number one? That's our Mountaineer. That's our Mountaineer friend from the
Oh
Count
yeah.
Pony.
Dang. Would you look at that? Would you look at it?
Would you
Or
just
would you
look at it?
just take a look at that, will you?
Uh, I don't know if I told you this. I might have, but my dentist is a University of West Virginia grad. His name is Dr. General.
Wow.
And he's all blue and gold, baby. And I sit in this chair, and he says, "Good morning, Mountaineers," and all that good business. And he told me, he said, "Man, let me tell you," he said, "you guys took Tyke Smith from us, and you guys took Jamila Dye from us." And he said, "That hurts. That hurts." He said, "But let me tell you, you guys got two gems right there." And never got to see Tyke on the field, but I've seen what Jamila Dye can do now. And oh boy, when you give the certain gentleman the keys to the Lamborghini, show you how to drive it. So I'm very, very excited to see what's going on with this moving forward.
Is Tyke a graduate transfer?
I do not know the answer to that question.
He might. If he's not, we might get a chance to see him next year.
I'm going to pull him up and see if I can find out. Yep. What happened to Tyke Smith? Okay, so he is classified as a junior.
Shit, he back. Watch. He back. Ringo will have another year. He'll become the Kendrick type, and then one of these other dudes is going to be over on the other side.
I need to find out about Lewis Scene. I need to know about Lewis Scene.
Well, I believe he accepted his Senior Bowl invitation, didn't he? Or is he a junior?
Let's find out.
I think he is. He might be a junior.
He's a junior.
Well, I ain't heard nothing.
So, well, look at this. DK's gone. All right. Lewis Scene is potentially coming back. Tyke Smith is potentially coming back. Keeler Ringo is coming back. Latavius Brini. And then a whole pile of help. An army is on the way to help them. So this position group that we had questions about. Thank you, Facebook user. Gosh, I hope that thank you for coming on the show and joining us.
We do Post-Mortems pretty quick. Not a whole lot to talk about.
Yeah.
I think we covered all the bases. As for recruiting, that's probably from a fan whose team has approximately 7 recruits total. So they don't want to talk about recruiting. No. As the championship game is a sore spot for us, recruiting is a sore spot for other of our colleagues in this channel. They know who they are.
That's all right. They Urban Meyer won them some natties.
You know what? I think I'll stick to my 41-year drought and my current state of affairs. Some teams around here have a 13-year drought, and they 6-6 going to a bowl that they made up yesterday.
By the way, we're going to do a bowl preview, but I need to point this out. Florida is playing UCF in the Gasparilla Bowl.
Was that a bowl before this year?
Maybe. I don't know.
The Sarsaparilla Bowl.
The Gasparilla Bowl.
I'm sorry.
So, but
Where's
here's the thing.
Hold on, I didn't mean to cut you off. Where's Tennessee going?
The Music City Bowl.
Could be worse. Auburn.
Birmingham Bowl, maybe. Man, I can't remember all of these. That seems right. But check this out, dude. Gasparilla Bowl versus UCF from the state of Florida.
That's
Florida.
That's the Gus bus right now. Huh?
What happens to the team that wins that bowl game from between the two premier universities in the state of Florida? Probably the recruits will start filtering towards that team that won, don't you think? Anybody who's sitting on that fence might fall in that direction.
Maybe, I don't know. Are those the two premier teams in Florida?
And what is it?
I
Is it
couldn't tell
Florida
you.
State? Florida State's not in a bowl. Is it Miami?
Are they in a bowl?
Yes, I think they are in a bowl, but it's also the Gasparilla Bowl Part 2. You know,
Okay.
and they're in the midst of a coaching change.
Does the word premier even apply to the state of Florida anymore, or is it just teams? I think it's just teams at this point.
Let me check something here from this recruiting ranking service. Phooey, this might take me a little bit to.
Nah, don't do anything. It's gonna take a little bit. I was just curious.
Well, here's the deal. You ask about teams from the state of Florida. I don't know if I can talk necessarily about the teams, but I can tell you this: players are definitely still there. Right now, going down our list, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of those 27 players that we have committed right now are from the state of Florida. 6 of them.
All right, great. But the definition of premier is first in importance, order, or position, semicolon, leading. I don't know that any of the Power 5 teams from Florida, any of them, need to even think of that word at the moment. Let's just, y'all need to worry about like not going to the Godzilla Bowl or whatever it was you just called it. Yes. Although that is fitting, giant lizard, Godzilla Bowl. FSU's not even going to a bowl. And Miami, who, man, how many years has Miami been back?
Well, all of them.
Yeah, and Miami fans are telling you we are back.
Miami is backer than Texas, dude.
Back where? That's who should play, man. Texas and Miami in the who is the ugliest shade of orange and least important bowl.
In the Outback Bowl. Oh my God, we can do this.
Yeah, we're gonna enjoy that part of it. I'll, it's been a long time since we've cashed in for a mythical title, but I don't think I'd switch positions as a fan with any other fan base in the East for sure. Right now,
it's got to be exciting being a Tennessee fan or a Kentucky fan, but exciting for different reasons. Excited that you're just no longer in the cellar.
Can Tennessee finally ever beat Florida? Because a good point was brought up earlier this season. Even at our worst, we're still better than Tennessee. And where's the lie?
I don't know, but boy, would that be a thing to see, huh? Hey, Matt, I think I'm gonna call it a night, dude.
Are we gonna get out in under an hour?
Yeah, we could have got out 30 minutes ago, man. Before we get out, if you happen to be still watching this, tell your friends, share this with them, come and join us and come and talk trash to us, and leave your name and leave your name with your comment, so we don't have to just call you Facebook user, even though we know who you are. Anyway, here's this thing. You got anything else for these fine folks at home, Matt?
Buckle in. Recruiting for the Georgia Bulldogs is going to be crazy. It's already crazy, but it's about to get like Hannibal Lecter. Like it's going to get scary here in a bit. I'm good with where we're at this moment. If some of these talking heads are like Georgia might take 32 players, we might be in the running for that. A&M may fall just shy. Although a lot of folks think A&M's going to pull this out.
They do have a lot of dudes. I mean,
They do.
they're the
It's not a
dudes that
joke.
they're aiming at are amazing.
And if they get them, they might edge us and Bama out. But listen, I had what was his name, Dalen Everett today.
Yes,
That was just a surprise out of nowhere, 5-star, just out
no
of
big,
nowhere.
no big.
That's just how we do.
Hey, tomorrow's going to be fun. The next few days are going to be fun. So
I'm
stay
off
tuned, everybody.
tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Hey, we'll catch you boys and girls next Tuesday, I guess, right? And if that changes, we'll let you know. All right. So
It is.
I'm Mitch, and on behalf of Matt here, signing out. We'll see you boys and girls later. Go Dogs.